Welcome to the Den of Tools.
Howdy ho, guys and gals, it's Red, your friendly neighborhood tool bear, back again here in the old Den of Tools. And today we're here to talk about wet-dry vacuums. Typically vacuums used in the shop or the proverbial shop vac, but not the shop vac brand. Yeah, it's kind of become the Kleenex slash Xerox kind of channel locks kind of thing, where the brand name has become the default name. But the fact is, they're wet-dry vacuums. In fact, the leader often when it comes to discussion, especially on the job site, isn't shop vac. No, it's Ridgid. In fact, Ridgid's got a plethora of choices here. Just going through Home Depot, of course, Ridgid's sold mostly through Home Depot there. I found 64 options for the shop vac, all from their commercial version, which is, of course, the black and red Ridgid, all the way through the orange ones, coming from $366 all the way down. They have every size, shape, and shop vacuum, wet dry vac that you could possibly want. They've got round, they've got square, they've got metallic. They have the little handheld ones for working on your car. All sorts of them. They got every choice you possibly want. And inevitably, when somebody asks, "Hey, what vacuum should I get? What wet dry vac should I get?" The chorus of responses are 9 times out of 10, get a Ridgid. And there's a lot of reasons for that, and we'll talk about them here in just a few. But on the scene recently has been the old Harbor the Freights. They're trying to break in, to bust in, and get some of that market. And they've upgraded. They've had their wet dry vacs for a while, but they've upgraded them, and they're now in the Bauer line. We got a 14-gallon, a 6-gallon, a 3-gallon, the 9-gallon. They have the little Hypermax cordless, but it is not a wet dry. It is just your basic, aka Dustbuster style. I have this one. We find it very useful around the house. All sorts of stuff. Great for chasing the Labradog around with all her fur that falls off. Now, Harbor Freight was nice enough to send over for review the 9-gallon, 4.5 peak horsepower wet dry vacuum that they got there from Bauer. Normally $69.99. Currently coupon out on it for $59.99. It's quite a vacuum. I was really surprised with it, but you'll see what we're talking about here. But then, the comparison to this we should be comparing it against the Ridgid 9-gallon, 4.25 peak, just a little slightly lower, a peak horsepower. Although if you know anything about shop vacs, the way they rate peak horsepower in these things is a bit iffy. So they kind of, We're gonna consider that even there, and it sells on sale. Go away there. It sells on sale for $57.97, normally $72. So it's actually $2 less expensive. Unfortunately, I was not able to, due to the Wuhan, to get the 9-gallon. Instead, what we have in the shop is the Ridgid 12-gallon at a 5.0 peak horsepower. So we're going to compare those. Now, there's some features on this that this one's going to have, the other one isn't going to have. But we're going to, pass over those a little bit because it wouldn't be a fair, apples to apples. It'd be more like apples to oranges. In this case, it's going to be more like, say, Macintosh to a Red Delicious. But let's jump into it, and I'll show you, pause on how these perform and some of the features that they have. Okay, we got the Bauer here on the back of the truck doing some assembly here. The assembly on the Bauer is pretty light. It really just consists of 4 screws here. You slot in the feet there. I gotta say the slots, it's kind of hard to see on this. They're nice and deep, so you get a good positive set on these. They're not going to just pop off rolling across a curb or something like that. I really like the filter assembly. Very easy to use. The latches on it, very easy to use. Nice and solid. The locking mechanism. The locking mechanism is solid. I don't like it's as singular. You have to do it in a single direction. And if something happens to the plastic gate on the hose or on the receptacle, you're kind of out of luck. But everything about this, and the handle. I thought the handle on this was fantastic. And you'll see what I mean if you look at the one on the Ridgid. But anyway, here's the Ridgid. A little bit more assembly on this one. Not a ton. It's not like, wow, night and day kind of thing. It's just a tad more things here. You still have the feet that you have to assemble. They go into, I gotta be honest, look at the slots. The slots on this are much much smaller, giving me the impression that that if you were not careful, it would be easy enough to break one of the feet off. I'm not saying that happens. It's just the way it looks. Both of them have plastic wheels with metal swivel casters. So fairly decent wheels if you ask me for a vacuum like this. Again, the assembly is fairly basic. You do have to put the wheels into this one, whereas the wheels are already assembled on the other one. You have to assemble the handle, whereas the handle's already assembled on the Bauer. And the clasps on the Ridgid I thought were a lot cheesier. They felt like they could break easily. Again, not saying that I saw them break. As far as the switches, the switch design, that's one of those things. They're both very robust. It's a look and feel kind of thing, whatever works for you. Both of them have the storage in the feet, so you can put all 4 components on there, which is really nice. There is cord wrap up on top on the Ridgid on the handle as well. So, you know, it's got everything. You can store everything right there. It's nice and convenient, and it's easy enough to use. There's nothing about the Ridgid I would say that was, you know, inherently bad. Okay, let's talk about the filters for a minute. There's the Bauer right here. Feels like a nice automotive filter. You got the metal reinforcement there. You got the rubber gaskets, and then the Ridgid feels, look at that plastic or rubber at the top. It feels like something out of one of those cheap inflatable like Intex pools. And we got the oldest bear here filling up the jugs. I had him fill up 5. These are old milk jugs we had lying around. 5 gallons of water there, so we knew we had exactly 5 gallons. So we knew, you know, the tests are fair. If you want to try and repeat the test, you can do it. It's exactly 5 gallons. He had lots of fun doing this. Anyway, and of course the guard Labrador checking where I am. All right, let's jump into it here with the Ridgid. 5 gallons. Go. Okay, I don't know what is up with that cavitation sound. I did this test twice with the Ridgid to make sure I wasn't doing something wrong. Did it both times. Here we go with the Bauer. Let's see how it handles this. And again with the Bauer, I did this test twice just to confirm that, it did it the same every time. And I was thoroughly impressed with it. Now let's test for ease of emptying this. As far as picking it up and dumping it, the Bauer was nice and sturdy. Didn't flex on me. I would say as far as ease from 1 through 10, I'd give it an 8. It was there was no problems really, but nothing fabulous about it. The Ridgid did flex on me. Now maybe this is because it's a larger one. I don't know. Maybe the smaller wouldn't have had this problem. Yes, it's got the drain plug, but we're not using that because we're emulating the smaller one here. Now I just wanted to show you the tops here. You know, this is the system. There's the Ridgid. You can see that's what the plastic rubber thing hooks onto. There's your float in that one. The Bauer is a little more robust. Has that nice spinning top there. The system for screwing it in place. Easy on, easy off for the filter. I just felt like the Bauer was better. The Cub wanted to try this. He's seen the commercials with the bowling balls. Typically, they use like a funnel to distribute the surface area. We didn't have one, but we thought we'd give it a shot. We had an old bowling ball lying around, and neither of these actually could do this. Go figure. But you know what? You give it the old college try there.
Not on the letters.
Here we got the anemometer, the wind speed tester. We're going to test the input and output speeds on both of these vacuums. 50.8. So to get over here, there's the output. Okay, that's 58.4 mph. Okay, sorry I was in a hurry here, but I'd set it to max speed, so it registered 58.4 on the input and the output did not exceed that, so it didn't show any higher speeds. So the output is going to be 58.4 or probably slightly less. Well, there you go. There you have it. That's the Bauer versus the Ridgid. I think the performance there kind of speaks for itself. And save your comments. Let's get through a little bit of this real quick because I want to talk about some of the other features that we showed there. The Bauer, here's the thing I'm going to say about the Bauer. The Bauer, I felt, the build construction of the Bauer just seems to be better. And that's what you get when you're in that second, third mover kind of status, because you got time to sit back, see what works, see what doesn't work, and make different choices. The handle is significantly more robust. It felt more solid. I felt like when grabbing that it was easy to cart this thing around, that it was very robust. Wrapping the cord around it was super easy. I like the handle on it. The latches are worlds better than the latches on the Ridgid. Now the Ridgid, once it's latched, it feels like it's going to stay latched. I don't think that's a problem, but it feels like it's going to break every time you latch it. The latching mechanism, the plastic's very flimsy, and it feels like there's only a matter of time until that's going to go. Whereas the latch style on the Bauer has these large, oversized paddles that I think do an excellent job of latching. And next are the feet. The grooves, you may have seen it in the video, the slotting mechanism for the feet is a lot deeper on the Bauer than it is on the Ridgid, which to me says over the years of use and abuse, you're less likely to lose one of the feet on the Bauer than you are on the Ridgid. Now, other features are the hose storage, and there the Ridgid really wins. Now, granted, mine didn't come with the screws for it, but you know what? These things happen. It happens every so often. I can go grab 4 screws probably and put it on there. I'm not going to take marks off a Ridgid. It happens with everybody. But the fact of the matter is that they have incorporated a hose management system that the Bauer doesn't really have. Yeah, there's workarounds, and I can wrap it around in there, and even the little paddles there for the latches kind of help. It's not really a big deal, but it definitely is, an extra consideration, and I appreciate that Ridgid went far enough to do that. Now let's talk about the accessories that come with it. The Bauer wins on the filter. There's no two ways about it. The filter on the Bauer is an excellent filter. It feels like a top grade filter. The construction is top notch, and they've clearly gone the extra mile with that. The filter on the Ridgid felt cheap and cheesy, and it's the system there with the plastic, the rubber diaphragm you got to pop on there and off and stuff. If you're constantly using this as a wet dry vac, taking that on and off, you're going to degrade that thing. It's just, I don't know why. I guess money, right? For money. But the filter on the Bauer is much better. But as far as the accessories themselves, man, the hose and the tubing, the Ridgid really wins. The ribbing on the tubing is, it's there to reinforce it, to give it more strength. It is far more significant on the Ridgid. It's barely noticeable on the Bauer, leading to a feeling of it feeling kind of cheap and feeling a little less sturdy, whereas the hose, or the tubing, I should say, on the Ridgid is very robust. The hose on the Ridgid versus the hose on the Bauer, but you know what? The locking mechanism on the Ridgid is way better because it allows you to lock in whatever angle you're in. The Bauer, you're kind of locked in. You have to go straight in, and there's a little gate it goes into, and if that gate gets broken or something, you've lost your locking mechanism. Whereas the Ridgid uses a series of bevels, if you would, or notches, and it can clip on any one of those at any angle, or depending on how it's rotated. So anyway, the locking mechanism is better on the Ridgid. The end accessories, the adapters, honestly, I would have probably thrown those over to the Bauer, but I didn't see anything that said that they worked any better than the Ridgid. So I didn't really include those. That may be a look and feel kind of thing. I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, these are very, very close machines. But I got to tell you, I got to give the nod to the Bauer as far as construction. It feels like it's a stronger built machine. It feels like they've taken all the lessons that Ridgid learned, went past them, and have made a more robust machine overall than the Ridgid. Here's the problem, though, for Bauer and why it's hard to say that this is the recommended buy. The Ridgid comes with a full lifetime warranty. Now, you've heard the bear. I've been kind of hard on Ridgid about their lifetime service agreements in the past and how they try to weasel out it and stuff. This is not a lifetime service agreement. This is an actual warranty, just like you see with hand tools. When you use the word warranty, it kicks in a whole bunch of legalese in state laws that says that, hey, you have to stand up to this and you have to deliver it. And there's a lot of regulations regarding it. That's why they use the lifetime service agreement for all the power tools. But this ain't that. This is an actual warranty that for as long as you own this tool, they're going to cover it. Now, yeah, you'll probably still have to jump through a few hoops and, and you probably have to register it or something, or have your model and serial number on hand when calling, as it says down here. Probably want to keep your receipt just to be safe. But the fact of the matter is, this is a lifetime warranty on a job site vacuum. There's just no way to dismiss the value of that. If they can stand up to it, or stand behind it, I should say, and deliver on that, that's that makes that a shop vac for life. And I know I shouldn't use the shop vac term. I'm a bear of habit. Anyway, let me know what you think. I mean, yes, you can get the extended warranty with the Bauer, and then the instant replacement is nice, but that's going to cost you extra money and stuff like that. When you've got somebody like Ridgid, who is the top dog in the segment and who you've got to compete against, you got to figure something out. Yes, I think the Bauer is a better machine, but I know that this machine, the Ridgid, is going to be around because they've got the lifetime warranty on that, and they're going to have to back that up. Anyway, I guess the bear's rambled long enough. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Which one would you go with? What would you like to see? Is there another option? Is there a third way the bear didn't mention? Anyway, you all take care. God bless. And as always, shine on.